The North American FJ-2 and FJ-3 Fury are a series of swept-wing carrier-capable fighters for the United States Navy and Marine Corps. The FJ-2 resulted from an effort to navalize the United States Air Force's F-86 Sabre. These aircraft featured folding wings, and a longer nose landing strut designed to increase angle of attack upon launch and to accommodate a longer oleo to absorb the shock of hard landings on an aircraft carrier deck. Although sharing a U.S. Navy designation with its distant predecessor, the straight-winged North American FJ-1 Fury, the FJ-2/3 were completely different aircraft. The later FJ-4 Fury was again a complete structural redesign of the FJ-3. The FJ-2 was one of the aircraft used to evaluate the first steam catapult on a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier. Design and development. FJ-2. By 1951, the Navy's existing straight-wing fighters were much inferior in performance to the swept-wing Soviet MiG-15 then operating in the Korean War. The swept-wing fighters in the Navy's development pipeline, including the Vought F-7U Cutlass and F-9F Cougar that were not yet ready for deployment. As an interim measure, the Navy's Bureau of Aeronautics ordered a direct development of the swept-wing F-86E Sabres as the FJ-2. As the F-86 had not been designed to be carrier-capable, this involved some risk, but Navy pilots had observed that the F-86A actually had a lower landing speed than the F-9F Panther. During carrier qualification trials, the Navy informed Grumman that if the F-9F5 stall speed was not reduced by 12 miles per hour, 10 knots, 19 kilometers per hour, it would be removed from carrier operations at the same time that the FJ-2 was already making its debut into Navy squadrons. North American's chief engineer at the time stated that the swept-wing Sabre had handling and stall characteristics at low speeds comparable to the best straight-winged airplanes. The urgency behind the program was such that 300, later reduced to 200, FJ-2 fighters were ordered before the prototypes had flown. The first prototype to fly was actually the third aircraft ordered, designated XFJ-2B and first flown on December 27, 1951. It differed only from a standard F-86E-10 in its armament, having 4 20mm Colt Mk-12 cannon instead of the 6 Colt Browning M3.50 machine guns of the Sabre. The second and third aircraft to fly were designated XFJ-2 and lacked armament, but were modified to be carrier-capable. They had an arrestor hook and a longer nosewheel leg to increase angle of attack at takeoff and landing, and catapult fittings. In August 1952, carrier trials were flown on USS Midway, followed by carrier qualification trials on USS Coral Sea in October-December 1952. Results were less than satisfactory. Low-speed handling was considered poor, and the arrestor hook and nose gear leg were insufficiently strong. The first production aircraft flew on November 22, 1952. This FJ-2 incorporated further modifications for carrier operations. The track of the main landing gear was widened by 8 inches, the outer wing panels folded upward, and the windscreen was modified to give the pilot a better view during approach. The FJ-2 also featured an all-moving flying tail without dihedral. Because of problems experienced during launches with steam catapults, a number of FJ-2 later received a stronger nosewheel strut. Outwardly, the FJ-2 was hard to distinguish from an F-86, apart from Navy paint and the gun muzzles of the 20mm cannon. The engine was the General Electric J47GE2, a navalized version of the J47GE27 used in the F-86F. The naval modifications of the FJ-2 had increased weight by about 500 kilograms over the F-86F, but unfortunately had not succeeded in delivering a fully carrier-capable fighter. A decision had already been made to give it to land-based squadrons of the U.S. Marine Corps. Construction was slowed due to demand for the F-86 in Korea. The FJ-2 was not produced in large numbers until after that conflict had concluded. Only 7 aircraft had been delivered by then end of 1953, and it was January 1954 before the first aircraft was delivered to a Marine squadron, VMF-122. The Navy preferred the lighter F-9F Cougar due to its superior slow-speed performance for carrier operations, and the 200 FJ-2 models built were delivered to the United States Marine Corps. The Marines did make several cruises aboard carriers and tried to solve the type's carrier handling problems, but the FJ-2 was never really satisfactory. In 1956, the FJ-2 already disappeared from frontline service, and reserve units retired it in 1957. FJ-3. Even while development of the FJ-2 was ongoing, the development was planned of a version powered by the Wright J65, a license-built version of the British Armstrong Siddeley Sapphire turbojet. The Sapphire promised to deliver 28% more thrust than the J47, for little gain in weight. The new version was designated FJ3, and an order for 389 aircraft was placed in March 1952. To test the new engine, a single FJ2, Buno 131,931, was modified, but the first true production FJ3 flew on July 3, 1953. The only externally visible change required by the new engine was a deeper intake to accommodate the larger mass flow. Early FJ3s had the same wing as the FJ2, but from 1955 onwards the FJ3 was built with a so-called 6-to-3 wing, with a leading edge that was extended 6 inches at the root and 3 inches at the tip. This modification, first introduced on the F-86F, enhanced maneuverability at the price of a small increase in landing speed because the leading edge slats were deleted. The version introduced on the FJ3 was different from that fitted to the F-86F, as camber was applied to the underside of the leading edge to improve low-speed handling. On the FJ3, the new wing leading edges also held extra fuel. From the 345th aircraft onwards, the wings were provided with 4 stations for external loads, up to 1,000 pounds on the inboard stations and 500 pounds on the outboard stations. Deliveries began in September 1954, and the FJ3 joined the fleet in May 1955. An FJ3 was the first fighter to land aboard the new supercarrier USS Forrestal in 1956. Problems were encountered with the J65 engine, including failures of its lubrication system under the acceleration of launch or during maneuvers, and failures of the turbine blades. Nevertheless, the Navy was more satisfied with the FJ3 than it had been with the FJ2, and in March 1954 it ordered an additional 149 aircraft. Because of its more powerful engine, the FJ3 was superior to most models of the F-86, except the F-86H. A total of 538 FJ3s were built. Of these, 194 were modified to FJ3MS with the ability to carry AIM-9 Sidewinder air-to-air missiles. Some FJ3s were later modified to control Regulus missiles, KDU-1, and F9F6K Cougar target drones. In 1956 the Navy retrofitted all its FJ3s with probe and drogue air refueling equipment, a long probe being fitted under the left wing. Variants: XFJ2. Test and Evaluation Aircraft, 3 built. FJ2 Fury. Single-seat fighter-bomber aircraft, equipped with folding wings, powered by one General Electric J47 GE2 turbojet, 200 built. FJ3 Fury, after 1962 F1C. Single-seat fighter-bomber version, powered by the more powerful 7800 lbf, 34.7 knots, Wright J65W2 or 7650 lbf, 34 knots, J65W4 turbojet engine, 538 built. FJ3M Fury, after 1962 MF1C. Improved version of the FJ3, with the ability to carry AIM-9 Sidewinder air-to-air missiles, 194 FJ3 converted to this standard. FJ3D, after 1962 DF1C. Conversions to control aircraft for Regulus SSMN-8 missiles and KDU target drones. FJ3D2, after 1962 DF1D. Conversions to control aircraft for F9F6K Cougar target drones. Operators: United States, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps. Aircraft on display: FJ2. Buno 132,023, National Naval Aviation Museum, NAS Pensacola, Florida. Uno 132,057, USS Hornet Museum, Alameda, California. FJ3. Uno 135,841, Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort, South Carolina. Uno 135,867, Plains of Fame Museum in Chino, California. Uno 135,868, Intrepid Sea, Air and Space Museum in New York, New York. Uno 135,883, USS Midway Museum in San Diego, California. Uno 136,032, Middleton Field in Evergreen, Alabama. FJ3M. Uno 141,393, Hickory Aviation Museum in Hickory, North Carolina. Specifications, FJ2. General characteristics. Crew, 1. Length, 37 feet 7 in, 11.45 m. Wingspan, 37 feet 1.5 in, 11.31 m. Height, 13 feet 7 in, 4.14 m. Wing area, 288 sq fort, 26.7 square meters. Empty weight, 11,802 pounds, 5,353 kilograms. Max takeoff weight, 18,790 pounds, 8,523 kilograms. Power plant, 1 times General Electric J47 GE2 turbojet, 6,000 lbf, 26.7 knots. Performance. Maximum speed, 587 knots/675 miles per hour, 1,088 kilometers per hour, at sea level. Range, 860 miles, 1,593 kilometers, normal. Service ceiling, 46,800 feet, 14,300 m. Rate of climb, 7,230 foot/min, 2,204 m/min. Armament. Guns, 4 times 20 mm, 0.787 in, Colt Mk12 cannons, with a total of 600 rounds. Role fighter aircraft. National origin United States. Manufacturer North American Aviation. First flight December 27, 1951. Introduction 1954. Retired September 1962. Status phased out of service. Primary users United States Navy. United States Marine Corps. Number built 741. Developed from North American F-86 Sabre. Developed into North American FJ-4 Fury.
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.